All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 30 of the board game.
29.
Oh, wow. Oh. Sorry.
Can't take him anywhere. Eh?
Roll it back.
Right, roll back. Yeah, I would just take two. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode number 29 of the Board Game Gateway podcast. My name is Neeber, and I'm your host for this evening, and I am joined by three lovely co-hosts around the table. We have Mr. Damien.
Hi.
We have Mr. Ralph.
Hey, everyone.
And we have Mr. Blayke. Welcome back.
Hello.
And Damien, you are joining us once again, back to back, joining us. We enjoyed your company so much last week, we thought we'd have you back for another episode. So, don't mind my dog in the background there.
That's fine. Look, I just want to thank you and the family for putting me up for the week because I have been homeless. That's why I'm still on this podcast. So
you are more than welcome. Although, look, I'm sorry that I had to put you in the dog bed. I mean, that's fine. That's fine.
So I kind of feel like Blake's our special guest now.
Yeah. look, and again, Matt is not here. You're here.
He's dodging me. I'm telling you. Like, what more can I do for the guy?
Let's see if he dodges you next week. Anyway.
Anyway, if this is the first time that you are listening to the Board Game Gateway podcast, we are a podcast about board games, tabletop games, and fun times. We like to have a bit of a laugh, have a talk about the games we've been playing, and give you an entry point to this wonderful world of the board gaming hobby that we all love to be a part of. Tonight, we're going to be having a chat about a couple of games. We're going to be having a chat about an interesting game called Cat in the Box. We're also going to have a chat about a game that we've recently been playing, which is Red Dragon Inn. And we're also, before we get to either of these two games, however, we are going to have a review from Mr. Ralph and Mr. Damien about the MacArthur Board Gamers Meetup that we had on Friday. Not an official game review, I should say, but a review of the event that we had on Friday, the MacArthur Board Gamers Meetup. It was a good one.
Yeah, it was a cracker, actually. One of the best turnouts we've had. I think we had, in the end, it was 17, 18 people all up.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
It was a fantastic turnout. We had 3 to 4 games always rolling consecutively.
I taught an 8-player game of Bristol.
That was amazing.
Yeah, that was
I was a tad disappointed I missed out on that, but I did miss out on it because I was playing a 4-player game of Tigris and Euphrates, and you know what? That's kind of okay to me. I think that's okay. But look, it was a sensational night. I want to, before we go into it any further, I just want to thank everyone who turned out. It's the community that makes the events. It's not the games. It's not Ralph, myself, or Reese, who's the other admin. It really is the community. And honestly, everyone there was amazing.
Turned up. Everyone was there.
Everyone turned up. And look, the only thing I can hope is that for the next one, that even more people turn up.
I do want to thank you guys, actually, because we had an episode on this podcast a while ago about actually just what does it take to get you to a board game meetup.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a gentleman that approached us, and he actually tapped me on the shoulder and thanked me for being on the podcast and doing that episode with you guys, because it actually got him out of the house. It actually got him to a board game meetup. And
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was so cool to hear that without sharing too much details. Like, it really hit me on an emotional level to see that we had an impact on someone's life like that just by doing this thing of talking shit, during the podcast, which is great.
Yeah, I mean, look, that is great to hear. I mean, the fact that we've got the community that we're having a little bit of an effect. I mean, thank you to you too, Ralph. I mean, you're part of this experience, and helping us and grow and all that stuff. I mean, and the community, as you said, Damien, this is a community group, and the podcast is kind of an offshoot from that community group because we met each other there and we just had such a good time, and we just wanted to keep sharing this hobby with more and more people. So that's great that you guys had as many. I am a little disappointed I didn't get to go there. I was attending a wedding, so I did have a good excuse. But once again, I've missed the huge meetup.
Everyone asks, is Nee going? No? All right, I'll be there.
Yeah.
Exactly right. No, it's good though. Like, but I remember for the last few that we had a good core group of about 6 people who would always rock up. But then from those meetups of those 6, we had a few more people join. Then a few more people have joined. And then it's just like they just keep coming back. Yeah. And then speaking of Ralph, which I think a little offshoot, which is also helping the events getting bigger and bigger, which is this Friday you have a Blood on the Clock Tower, another Blood on the Clock Tower night.
Yeah, that's right. So there's still tickets available. It's just the Blood on the Clock Tower with MacArthur Board Gamers on Eventbrite. So it's, last time we had like 2 full games running. It was pretty incredible to see that. And I'm actually seeing the ticket sales already increase as we're approaching Friday. So I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah, so this episode will go out on Thursday, the morning before the event. So if you are listening to this, you still have a chance to go and book your ticket. It is on Friday evening. Both Damien and Ralph will be there. I'm hoping to get there as well, but we'll see about that. I have yet to be in one. I've talked a big game, so I've got to try and get there.
No pressure, but it is a lot of fun.
Exactly right. Yeah. And look, and the stories that have come out as well from we've heard on the podcast. It's,
Hamish still hates me.
That's fine.
And the thing is, like, Nee at least should have the opportunity to defend himself for the things that we say about him on these nights.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
I mean, look, that's fine, but I'll get to the night and everyone will just go, "He's a bloody werewolf" from the first time. It doesn't matter what happens. You're like, "Yeah, but he's bad. Kill him." Like, I didn't do anything. There, it doesn't matter. Welcome to Blood on the Clock Tower.
That's right. Yeah.
The thing I just want to say lastly about the MacArthur Board Gamers Night is, for anyone who's listening, if at any point you've thought about going and you thought, no, it's not really for me, I don't know about the games they may be playing, so on and so forth, we go out of our way. We try as hard as we possibly can to have an array of different types of games, whether it be more social style games such as Bristol, maybe your heavier games, maybe more conflict-driven games, whatever you may like. Not going to say we have every game there, but we do definitely try to cater for an array of different games. Yeah. And on top of that, everyone there are extremely welcoming, extremely friendly, and will always be happy to take the time out to show you how to play a particular game. So please don't hesitate to come out, tap someone on the shoulder, and just say, "Hey, I'm new here. I'd love to give this game a go."
I just want to say, I had my brother around my place recently, and he's not typically a board gamer. Occasionally he tunes into this podcast as well, but he's, we say games like Bristol, he's never heard of that. So, but he'll happily sit down and learn that game. And we're not going to throw the most complex game at you, we're going to ease you into it. So don't be afraid about if you've never heard of a particular type of game. Just jump in.
And that's the other thing as well, which you did mention, that the group itself does have, we'll have an offshoot of we'll have a few gamers who want to play a heavy game tonight. Yeah. So we've done played a game of Age of Steam, which is, because you really wanted to play the game. For it. Yeah, exactly right. But at the same time, we also had a game of Plank Catacombs going. We also had a game of Libertalia was going at one stage, or Heat Pedal to the Metal, relatively simple games. And for those of you who are listening and you may not be in where we are in the local MacArthur region, which we do know we do have listeners from France. From France, we do have a couple listeners in America. If this sounds like your cup of tea and you're not actually in a group, go to Facebook, meetup.com, go have a look, or even potentially start your own group. I mean, just, this started with a random Facebook group, and it was just like, hey, we're in this region and we're just going to meet up, and then we just, now we're at 320 plus members or something, nearly 350.
I think we touched on it last week. I met Damien through a Facebook post, and now he's one of my closest gaming buddies. That's it. You meet heaps of people like that. Just got to get out there.
Yep, get out there. Go play games, people. Get to a table. Meet some interesting people.
Well, you can, but
let's be honest as well, though. How many of us in our families, though, really, truly like playing games with us? Or you could, trust me, there's a whole world of people out there who want to play these games with us. So absolutely, we'll do that. Anyway, so we're going to move on to our first topic of the evening. We'd like to talk about a game that we've been playing a little bit recently called Red Dragon Inn. We actually had a live stream of this on our YouTube channel where myself, Blayke, and a couple of our mates and my brother Nick, we decided to play this on TTS a while ago. So if you want to know more about this game, you can go check out that live stream. But we are going to have a bit of a chat about this because Blayke and I really love this game.
Yes.
And we want to have a chat about it. So Blayke, I'm going to throw this to you. Could you give the people a bit of a rundown on what Red Dragon Inn is?
Yeah, so Red Dragon Inn, it took me by surprise. When we first played it, we played it on Tabletop Simulator on Steam. And when you first open up that mod straight away, it looks intimidating. There's bits and pieces everywhere. The board's quite extravagant.
I think I loaded it one time and just walked straight out.
Yeah, exactly. It looks quite intimidating, but the gameplay itself couldn't be simpler. It's a basic card game. But I got a chance to play this in person, actually. Over the weekend just gone. So I went for a mate's 30th over to South Australia, interstate, and we were staying in an Airbnb. and someone, one of my mates, Tim, he got charged for it, mind you. He went over his weight limit on the plane. I'm sorry, Tim. I did warn you. It was 7 kilos only. I'm sorry. But no, he made the effort to bring this whole box over, and it's amazing in person. It's fantastic. The only downside is it's quite expensive to collect all these decks. And there are quite a few.
Is it like expansion content?
Yeah, so
definitely.
So
Yeah.
I'll give
So
you-
what is the game? Because I've never played it.
I'll give you a basic rundown. So here's the theme of the game. Okay, we are all an adventuring party in the D&D world, right? It doesn't matter what world, but we're all the adventuring party, and we have successfully slain the dragon. We won, and now we're retiring to the Red Dragon Inn of a night of shenanigans and drinking to celebrate our victory. So the way that this game works is each one of us will have a unique character. All right, and those characters could be anything from like the wizard to the innkeeper.
Well, my favorite, Pookie the rabbit.
Pookie the rabbit, or there's so many different characters.
Yeah,
right?
and each of these characters all have their own flavors.
And they're really cool. So the way that it works is that we each have a player board, and that player board has 0 to 20 on it. Okay. Now you have a marker which is called your fortitude marker, which is your health, and your health starts at 20. You also have a marker called your sobriety marker, which is a little beer mug, and that starts at 0. The game ends when one of two things happens. So it's a player elimination based game. So it'll be one player remaining.
I thought it was like a friendly game.
No.
Okay.
So the way that this game works is really simple. You get knocked out in one of two ways. Either the first thing is you have no money left to pay for the drinks that we're all buying and getting drunk on, in which case the innkeeper says, get the hell out of my bar. I want people who with money, right? If you get kicked out of the bar, you lose. The second way you can be kicked out of this, eliminated from the game, is if your sobriety marker and your health marker ever meet, you have officially passed out from being too drunk, right? So you've been knocked out. The way that the game works is really simple. On your turn, you can play a card from your hand, and that card is an action card, okay? And that action card can be things such as, hey, assign Damien, you just have to have a drink now. So you have to take a drink from the drink deck and put it onto this pile of cards that you have as a drink deck. And then that's my action. My character can do some really funny stuff, and then that's it, right? My player turn. And then at the end of my turn, I have to take the top card from my drink deck, and then I have to flip it over face up, and that drink deck is going to tell me how many drinks and how many pips my sobriety marker is going to go up.
So far, this doesn't really sound like a newly invented game, but rather someone just followed me around on a Friday night in my early 20s. That's really what this sounds like.
Yeah, basically. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, pretty
cool.
much. So that's why, and then different things can be like, hey, or one of my favorite is there's one of my favorite characters is the Bard character. His name is like Adolfo or Adonis. He's the Bard, and he literally just has muscles upon muscles, and so all the cards are very themed to each of your characters, right? And each of them have different things, such as my Bard character has like it's very asynchronous, so everyone has very specific powers. Like the Bard, for example, has 3 different instruments in front of him, and it basically says, hey, I get to, Blayke was stealing drinks from me, so I'm going to punch him. And then it has a little thing that says, well, if I smash one of my instruments because I was going so hard, I also get to add an extra 3 damage onto Blayke. So it's like you're doing these little things. And then on top of that, the other part of the game that we haven't explained is that there's the whole gambling mechanic that comes into.
Yeah, so gambling's like another action. It's an action that you would play on your turn. You start a round of gambling.
Yep.
And everyone antes up
You
one
have
coin.
to ante into the gambling.
So everyone antes a coin, and
Nice.
then it goes around the table, and you either have to play a card or pass. And your card that you would play would be things like I raise, which makes everyone ante again.
Yep.
Or a full house, or there will be, which immediately takes control of
So
the round
the
again.
card that says, I have the winning hand. What is it? It doesn't matter. You've got the winning hand.
Yeah. So now it goes around until either everyone passes or someone can't take control of the round of gambling back from the person who gained it, and then that person will win the
Gains
hand.
all of the money.
Now there's cards like cheating cards that you can underhandedly take the round from, or gain like winning hand or full house, things like that.
Or cards are laid to not ante up and go, oh, sorry, I've disappeared. I left my coin purse in this other dimension and get out of the round of gambling. Right.
That's cool.
But I think you've just touched on there. I think what makes this game for me, and that's the theme, the flavor behind this game, because the game itself is very
Thinking of the stuff in my head.
it's very simple, and it sounds pretty basic and straightforward, but all the flavor that are in these cards, the pictures, the funny, the funny pictures on the cards, the names of the cards. Like there's this one card, basically your rebuttal card.
Yeah.
When you want to stop someone from doing something, it's called, "Oh, I don't think so."
It's called the I don't think so card.
And now
awesome.
an "Oh, I don't think so" can also be countered by an "Oh, I don't think so."
Only by an I don't think so.
So you get these really crazy rounds where you're throwing all these cards, and we found it way more fun to actually say the name of the card instead of just playing the card and describing what it does. Oops, Grog thought you were a stool. And there's this big arrogant guy who accidentally sits on you, so you lose 3 health.
And then someone goes, I don't think so. And then someone else goes, no, I don't think so. And slams their card down on top of you. And there's all of this really funny stuff that kind of is going on because the game itself does. All right, so we need to address the elephant in the room, which is that, yes, it does have player elimination. And you can be piled on very early in this game, right? You can be out very early, and that's not a great sign. However, we also found that after 3 games of playing this, it just became funnier when everyone was like, pile on Nick or pile on Blayke in game 3. I was like, all right, boy, I guess we're all attacking Nick now, right? And my brother. And it ended up being really funny. There's so many different things. Like, you can pull over like there's special drinks. So this is like the healing potion, which gives you more fortitude. Or, you pulled the dragon ale, which requires you to pull a chaser. So you not only do you have to drink whatever's on the dragon ale, you now have to flip the next one to then add the extra drink onto top of that. Plus, then you can also have drinking competitions, which are like pulling different cards. And yeah, it's really great. Now, the other negative, which we do need to note, which Blayke touched on at the start, is that it is very expensive.
Extremely.
So the base set of the game, which I've currently got in my shelves over there, comes with 4 characters.
Right.
And it costs $50. 4 decks of cards they're like 40, so you may be getting 40 to 50 cards per
like
player.
Super fantasy rule.
Yeah. And then every other expansion, which there is like 12 expansions, only comes with 4 player character expansion sets, and they are all $50 per expansion. So it's, I think, way overpriced for like getting all this stuff. Like,
So how many cards are in a deck of cards for a character?
like 40. It's like really minimal. It's not. It's like a proper, because they want you to be cycling through your deck a bit.
It's kind of like Cards Against Humanity, where the humor's in the card. So the more cards you get, like he'll sit on a different stool, or things like that.
Pookie has gone into a rage,
Yeah,
right? And all
like
that
pizza
kind of-
delivery,
and it is fun, and there are these things. But so my cousin Tom, who we've played a lot of games with, he bought me the Red Dragon Inn base set. He goes, look, you've bought a lot of games. I'd like to buy you something because we get to play it, and he really loves this game too. And I still have not pulled the trigger on buying another expansion set because I can't justify $50
for the same game.
For the same game when I could be
I've got
getting
some games like that too.
Yeah. So it sounds like player interaction is really where the game is at
for sure.
with this. Is it a sort of 4 player game, or can it go beyond that?
You
you can
go
play
beyond that.
up to like 8, 9 players.
Okay.
But like, is there a lot of replayability in this game?
Yes, there is, but you don't want to be playing it at 8 and 9 players, really.
Yes.
Yeah, as much as you can be. We found the sweet spot was around that 5 mark.
Yeah.
But
Nice.
even then, that's starting to like, because you only get to do, there are cards which are reaction cards, like the I don't think so, right? But if no one is targeting you and someone is taking a little bit of time doing a whole bunch of stuff, it can just feel like, well, I'm not really getting much of a turn.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of sort of high interaction games kind of come in. Usually at 2, sometimes 3. It just you don't get that same vibe, but it usually starts to pick up when you hit the 4 or 5 mark.
That's it.
Yeah, that's usually, especially I find especially at 5.
Yeah.
Because you can
That odd number.
that odd number is what makes it.
Yeah.
Because you can have that kingmaker or kingbreaker.
That's right.
In there.
That
So
decision swing.
And I think in this game, it has heaps of replayability. I mean, we're still playing it years on, but I think the replayability comes from those variety of decks. So having the in-person collection, you're either up for a lot of money, or it could fizzle out because you start playing the same decks over and over again, starts getting a little bit samey.
Yep.
A lot of it came from the excitement of, who am I going to play this time? Maybe I'll play, maybe I'll play like the wizard,
ability.
or maybe I'll play the barmaid, and she has her own special drink deck,
Or the pirate, or there's all these different characters. So yeah, it is a lot of fun. I will say as well, we have played this as an actual drinking game, and Yeah,
Someone tells me the sobriety token moves
Yeah.
a bit quicker.
like we got through one game, and by the second game we were all like, and we were like, because like when you have to take an actual drink, it's like, hey, you need to take 3 drinks, and then a chaser, and everyone's like, no, like down the hatch, Blayke, let's go.
I think someone made up the rule that if you have get a card with, or you have to drink more than 4 drinks in one go, you have to finish your drink, and that was the end of the night. That we only got through that game, and then everyone started.
Have you guys ever done the drinking version of Mario Kart?
Mario Kart.
Yeah, Mario Kart.
I have. I've done it once.
I saw a friend, because you're basically not allowed to cross the finish line until you finish your beer.
Is that the one we have to pull over to drink?
Yeah. So one of my friends, who I've never seen finish a beer in his life, sculled the whole beer straight up and then continued the race.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of fun stuff. Anyway, we've been really enjoying that. We thought we'd bring it up again because it's just a lot of fun. Look, we are a little bit disappointed that it costs so much to get the expansions, but we really do love playing it on TTS. Like, once we understood that, all the stuff that we're looking at is just, it's a different player that you can play, and they just automatically load up the mods. So we did. Yeah. But it is a lot of fun to be playing in person with each other. So
I love games that the game is more a toolkit just to laugh with your friends.
Absolutely. This is one of those. This is one of those ones. 100%. All right. So moving from an oldie but a goodie, we're going to be moving on to a newie and a goodie. Kind of giving away a little bit of the cat in the bag there, or in this instance, a cat in the box, if you will.
Boom.
I'm sorry. I'm no Ralph.
Leave
right?
the jokes to me, mate.
Yeah, exactly right. So we'd like to have a chat this week about our gateway game of the week, which is Cat in the Box. And this is a really very hugely interesting trick-taking game that Damien, I'm going to let you explain to everyone what this game is.
I do want to ask, Damien, did you buy this legitimately thinking there was a cat in the box?
No, I already have 2 cats at home.
Okay.
So
did they try and fit in this box?
Thinking.
Because I've seen them try and get into some board game boxes.
No, this one, no.
It's a bit too small for a cat, I think, this one.
It should be kitten in the box.
Yeah, maybe.
I get it doesn't quite fit into the question there.
If you want to see what we're talking about, go to our YouTube channel at BG Gateway on YouTube to see this game, the game box.
But Ralph, I thought you said we were going to leave the jokes to you.
All right, moving on into the actual talk about the game. Let's get into it before we start tearing ourselves apart here. Damien, give us a rundown on Cat in the Box.
Destroyed me on the score and on the podcast.
Cat in the Box is it's actually a reissue. So Cat in the Box is actually quite an old game. I don't know when.
2020 was the first initial.
I did not know
BGA. Sorry, BGG, it was 2020.
I thought it was a little bit older than that, but I'm not going to argue with BGA. But basically, in among the Japanese gaming scene, there are a number of fantastic designers coming up with really interesting trick-taking games. This one is no different. This is a Japanese trick-taking game. It is called Cat in the Box. Specifically, it's a quantum trick-taking game. The game designer is, I'm going to completely ruin your name, and I do apologize. It's Mineyuki Yokuchi.
I think you nailed it.
And I do know he has designed other games. We will add them into the show notes, a link to his BGA profile page.
Sure thing.
But essentially in this game, it is very much your typical trick-taking game with a massive twist. For those out there who aren't familiar with trick-taking games simply, they actually originate from your standard 52 card deck, where every single suit in the deck represents what players around the table will aim to play against. So, for instance, if a lead player or the player starting that round plays, for argument's sake, a 3 of diamonds, what that means is they have now played a card of value 3, and the suit that everyone around the table has to follow is a diamond. The requirement there is that if you have a diamond in your hand, you then have to play it. However, with a number of trick-taking games, there will be what's called a trump. There will be a special suit. So for any of those euchre players out there, that special suit is spades. And it just means that you can then play a spade from your hand and say, no, I'm going to win this entire trick. I don't have any diamonds. I've got a spade instead. I'm going to play that.
Mm-hmm.
This is very much the case, except in Cat in the Box, there are no suits. every single card is numbered from 1 to 9, and they are all black. So, how does one win a suit when all the cards are black?
That's exactly what I was thinking, Damien. Please do tell me.
What you do in this game is there's actually a common board in the middle of the table. And when you play a card, you nominate the color that card is going to be. So hypothetically, I could play a card of value 4. And then, as it so happened in every one of our games, the first card played was a blue. So it would be a 4 blue. So what I'm saying is that for that round, blue is the lead color. And whoever plays a higher value of blue can win the trick. In Cat in the Box, the trump suit is the color red. What makes the real interesting part, and I think the thing I find absolutely fascinating about this one, is that board, while you're putting tokens out and saying, I am playing a blue 4, and then Blayke may say, no, I'm going to play a blue 5. Ralph may say, no, I'm going all the way playing a blue 8. Is as the game goes on, not only are we playing tokens to this board and eliminating numbers and color combinations that can be played, but we're also building contiguous groups of our tokens. And that leads to the very last wrinkle in this game. If at any point you can't play a card, for instance, let's say you've got a 5 and an 8 left in your hand, and all the 5s and the 8s have tokens on them on the board, you've caused a paradox. You officially cannot play, and any tricks you have won are worth negative points.
No, yeah, they are.
Yes, and that hurts. But going back to the contiguous group, no. If you manage to successfully predict how many tricks you're going to win, for all of your tokens in that contiguous group, in the largest contiguous group, I should say, you get that many bonus points. So if you have 4 tokens, let's say in a square on the board, your points are the number of tricks you've won plus those 4 points. And that is Cat in the Box. It is, I'm a sucker for trick-taking games. I'm a euchre player from way back when, plus a number of other games. This one is 100% in my wheelhouse, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, we are all very big on card games, as is referenced by the fact that we've had Ralph's cousin Anthony, local Briscola champ, on the podcast, but also we've talked about this.
Yeah, he got his trophy the other week.
Yeah. And this, I have to admit, is one of those games that literally, as soon as you got it out, I'm like, ooh, this sounds interesting. And as soon as you immediately put it in front of us, I was like, yep, I'm in.
Yeah.
This is an amazing game. I mean, I'm just putting it out there very quickly for everyone else, but yeah, I loved it. What did you guys think?
Yeah, look, I'm quite new to these types of games. I didn't play very many of them growing up. I wasn't into board games or very many card games besides the very basic stuff. So this whole concept was all new to me today when Damien sort of brought it up, and I think maybe halfway through that first game, I think you all audibly heard the penny drop in my brain.
Yeah.
When I went, someone broke the suit and went, okay.
Yeah.
No, I understand where this is going now.
Yeah.
And I was straight in. It was fantastic. Although I had quite an awful time of it. I think I caused the paradox 2 or 3 times, but no, it was really good. I can't sing its praises high enough.
Look, I really like it. The biggest trick-taking game to come out in recent years would have been The Crew, and we played that through till the end. Absolutely loved it. I watched the Dice Towers review of Cat in the Box, and he said, if The Crew didn't exist, this will be the number 1 trick-taking game for him. I could see that overtaking it, but it doesn't have like that campaign element for me. But in terms of the actual game itself is really interesting. You can play it multiple ways. Like Nee was, didn't matter about committing to the tricks because you got to commit to how many tricks you think you're going to take. But ultimately, that doesn't matter too much, and you can not care about your clumps. So there's a few variety. There's variety in it in the way you play the game. I find it really interesting how there's 4 of you got your 4 kings, your 4 10s, that sort of thing. In this game, there's 5 9s or 5 8s or 5 1s, and one gets this. You have potential to discard one of them, but there could be 5 of any number in the game in other players' hands, and that's what causes the paradox. Like at the end of the day, so it's really interesting because you think, okay, well, if the 7 red and the 7 blue and the 7 green are taken, I've got the 7 yellow, so what's the big deal? But I don't. Someone else could have that.
And the thing to consider is that at 4 players, we're playing with numbers 1 to 8.
Yeah.
So there are 40 cards because there are 5 of every card. And if at the beginning of the round we discard 4 cards blindly, we'll say, so we look at our hands and we pick which card we want to discard, but it gets discarded face down. Even if we happen to all discard a different number each, it still means that there are 4 numbers in our hands.
Yeah, that have 5
that
copies.
have 5 cards in it. So this is why, and something I actually said during our game was, I have never seen this like a round end organically,
like without a paradox,
without a paradox, until we played this game, and it was our final round that actually ended with everyone.
No, I caused the paradox.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
you did.
No, I did.
There you go. I stand by my point. I still have
I got put in a corner.
I still have never seen a round end in anything but a paradox.
And this is why I love this game. And I know I've only played it tonight, but it literally may have shot and past the crew for me. Now, granted, I've got to play a bit more of the crew, but I really love this idea. Like, I love games that are a bit more head to head. And look, I know when you hear the word quantum trick taking game, right? It's like, it does actually bend your mind how you think about it. It's not complicated in any way, shape, or form. It sounds complicated when we're talking about it, but when this game is in front of you, it clicked really.
I'd say it takes half a round to click for people. Typically.
I think also if for a lot of people, it's like, if you understand trick taking games at their core, it is a lot quicker because the same concepts exactly apply.
That's
the
right.
only thing that you have to understand is that you now just get to choose what suit that you're playing. Now, the thing which you kind of mentioned, Damien, which goes normally is, well, when you break a suit, like you're saying, I don't have any of that suit. Well, you have a little player board in front of you and you have to take one of those tokens off there. So you now can never play that suit again. Even though it's like, well, you're going, it's like, oh, but all of my cards are black and I can play any color. It's like, no, because you broke the suit that you didn't follow. So therefore you have audibly said to everybody and the universe that you do not have any greens and therefore you're not allowed to play any greens. And that became really cool because in the very first round you showed us the example, which is you trumped the suit, put it in red. So you won the card and then you led with the red.
Yeah.
And you said, if you do not follow me now, you are audibly saying to everyone, you do not have any trumps for the rest of this round. And everyone went, oh no, I want to have a trump in my head.
And it's really funny because that play is very similar to more traditional trick taking.
What you would do, because you want to try and draw them out.
Right.
Because in euchre, a legitimate strategy is to trump early, especially if you are sitting on a number of trump cards.
To keep the lead going.
You trump early and you force everyone to play their trumps because
that's right.
that either you're going to win a bunch of tricks early, or you're going to force everyone to have to throw their trumps into the table to prevent you from winning, and then you're just going to come back and win at the end of the round.
Yeah.
So I think, and you did touch on this, in that if you understand trick taking games, those sort of game mechanics and gamesmanship within trick taking absolutely exists here. All this has is just additional wrinkles on top, the board on top, and the fact that you have all black cards. Just again, it's just, to me, it's just a little wrinkle on top, but it definitely elevates.
It's enough of a twist to make you go, if you understand trick taking games, it's the exact same formula, but now it's like, because in my head at the start of the game, I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to order them in like groups of numbers because obviously I want to try and order them as runs of numbers, like as if I was holding different suits. But you can't actually pre-plan what numbers are in what suit, because I went, well, I'm going to play this as my blue suit and I'm going to play this one as my green suit. And I went, and literally the first play of the game, Damien plays a blue, and then everyone plays blues, and two of the numbers that came out were numbers that I was holding in my hand that I was planning on playing as a blue suit. And I went, well, they're not blue anymore.
Yeah, that something me else. As well.
The other thing which Ralph, you mentioned, which is that we don't actually need to play this game the same way, which is okay, well, there's that little bit of the scoring wrinkle that you said that, well, depending on where you put your numbers on this central board, or like you may actually want to play numbers to group your tokens together to get the bonus score. I didn't do that. I was like, I don't know if that's how I want to play this.
I was shooting for that every time we played,
Yeah.
and it felt good when that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not an easy thing to achieve.
No,
Yeah.
it didn't. But I went the opposite route, which is I went, you know what? I'm just going to try and win as many tricks as I can, because there's no punishment for not getting, for going above what you called, other than you just don't get your bonus.
That's right.
But if, like, there was one round where Ralph said he was going to get 1, which he did, and then he got his bonus 4, and so we got 5. But I, on the other hand, just got 4 points just for going for 4 tricks.
Just for trying to win the tricks
for trying
like
to win the
normal.
tricks.
Yeah.
Granted, you did obviously 5 is better than 4 when we're going for most points.
Hang
but-
on.
Wait.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
Right. Very obviously.
Nailed
But the idea of it is like, rather than me having to worry about what was going on in this center board, I was just thinking, right, well, I was thinking very similar to that, which was, well, I have an 8. Let's just keep it rolling. Let's just run it through the tricks. But then that was that round where I tried getting a bit too big for my britches. I paradoxed out on 3, and I was like, damn it. But I did pretty well, because I was only like 2 points behind you in the end of the game, even though I didn't follow that. So it means that people who you may go, oh, that sounds a bit convoluted, or it sounds a bit complex on the scoring board. You don't even need to worry about that. You could still win this game just by playing good trick-taking strategies that you may be used to. And
What I want to know, so Blayke, you said at the beginning that you don't have much experience playing trick-taking games. In fact, you said this is the first time you've really played a trick-taking game. How do you feel about that? Because me personally, like, again, I played a ton of euchre through high school and university and things like that, and I still do with my family today.
Yeah.
So it's I'm not going to say it's second nature, but I've just played it a lot.
Yeah, I mean, look, when it first came out, it looked like I just plain out didn't understand what was going on as soon as it started. And a lot of things with trick taking games is the vocabulary that gets used for tricks as rounds, and and I was like, what's it? And then there's also rounds in it, and and my head was just spinning at first, and it wasn't until that, like you say, that half a game. I'm one of those people that learns playing the game rather than someone explaining. Someone will do an explanation, and then as we play through the game, all those things that have been said then start to come to the forefront and go, oh, okay, now I'm getting it. But because it did take me that little bit to understand this game, and I fell behind early, I still found enjoyment in this game. And that was the player interaction and the putting a piece down on the board and then just watching someone else across the table go, oh, you bastard.
Yeah.
The science.
You took that card.
For the listeners, if you ever are playing a trick-taking game, don't sit to the left of me.
That sounds like a challenge,
Community warning: don't sit to the left
so
of me.
I do.
In saying that though, what sort of made me what I sort of started to think about was, maybe would this game benefit? I mean, for those who are listening, with Nee's strategy of winning every trick, which means he led the next trick, and then I was always on the back end of it going last, which means I was, people were taking
numbers.
The numbers off me that would win the game and will win that trick. Now, what I think maybe this game might benefit from is maybe alternating the direction every round.
That
could change
is
something.
interesting.
Yeah, and look, you were very unlucky that you were sitting where you are on my right, because I was actually, because that last
never
round,
will again.
Well, but that last round as well, I did a very euchre thing, which was I went, well, I have the lead, so I'm just going to lead trump suit here, because I was going, I'm stuffing, I'm just going to win as many as I could. So that meant as well, there were no trump cards left for you to grab by the time it came through, because I was like, well, I'll play the 5, and then I was like, well, I'll play the 4, and that happened. But it's very interesting that you mentioned vocabulary, because it does translate from, I was playing very much those things. Sorry, let me restart that thought again, which is the vocabulary of trick-taking games is, like, if I play a heart as the trump suit and I lead with the heart, I'm very obviously telling people, based on what number I play, I have a lot of this card. Like, if I play high heart, I'm saying I am going to win. You now need to come with it, and I am telling you by this card, this is what I'm doing right now, and you've got to stop me.
Yeah.
Whereas this game, it doesn't matter if I play the 8 of red, because I was like, I can't tell you that I've got a lot of red. You all just have to now respond with, all right, well, let's just hope he doesn't have that number.
Yeah.
So there are some little parts of that vocabulary that do transition across, like you can have a look at things, but like the difference between me and Ralph is that Ralph, you can actually play it, and Damien, you can play it a bit gamey, which is you can go, stuff it. I'm not going to go for the trick wins.
Yeah.
I'm just going to actually play the numbers on the board to give myself the biggest bonus.
That's right. And it kind of removes the memory of it. Like, I have to remember, what card did Nee play? Like, is the 6 red already out? Because the board is in the middle of the table. It tells you know what has been played already. We've talked a lot about the game. We haven't talked about the theme. Does it work?
Pandora's box.
It's
That's what I was.
Schrodinger's cat sort of thing.
Oh, sorry. It's not
yeah.
Pandora's box,
Is the idea
Sorry.
of that the thing that causes the end of the game is a paradox, right?
Yes.
Is that me essentially opening the box and killing the cat?
No.
Or finding out if the cat is alive or dead. You
That's
don't know.
right.
The cat is both alive and dead until it is observed.
So Matt would love this game.
Absolutely.
No, look, I think the theme actually does fit this really well, because the idea of it is that we don't know what's in the box until you play the box, right?
Yeah.
I love that idea. Like, yes, it's like, yeah, the cat has nothing to do with it, right? But the idea of like, well, you don't know what this is being played until you play it. I know it's a 4, but I don't know what color 4 this is, or whether or not I can even play the 4 until it comes to that round. I think this theme fits perfectly. I actually really enjoy the fact that it's like a black base followed by the highlights of the colors. Like, I don't actually ever have to worry about the colors in front of me. I just look at the game board and I go, that's a 4. And the little personal player board where it's like, I just play this on one of the 4 sides of my little rectangle.
Yeah.
And then everyone can just go, oh yeah, he led a blue. And I look over at Blayke and I go, oh, he led it on the blue side. Okay, it's blue.
So the idea
very,
is
very easily.
this game is an experiment. And our tokens are like little atoms, and some are planets.
Mine's
and
an
things
apple.
like that. Like,
Mine was an
are
apple.
we doing experiments on the cat?
Well, actually, we are. I'm pretty sure that's actually part of the case. Is that is it?
Look, without
Like,
going,
are we like just injecting gas into the?
without
I just don't know
going,
if this is really
without
painting
going
kittens in
into-
a good light.
without going into too depth of quantum mechanics, which I'm surely not an expert in, but the idea is that
I'm terrible with saying.
well,
things like that.
it's the same thing. It's the same thing, because quantum mechanics basically says an atom, you can never know its location and its speed.
Sure.
So it's like you can't know both.
Look,
once you observe it, then you know one of them.
Look, for me, I love the game. The colors are very vibrant. The cards are all black. It's perfect color-wise, but the theme doesn't fit for me.
This is where we disagree, but I respect your wrong opinion.
Yeah,
So
I
can't say that.
I'm going to have to side a little bit with Ralph on this one. I think.
Yeah, that's fair
Look,
enough.
I'm not
That's fair
saying
enough.
I'm not saying it's a bad theme, and I definitely got that it was supposed to be like an experiment, Schrodinger's cat kind of deal, but I don't know if it's that strong of a theme for me. I don't know if it translates to the gameplay strongly enough for me to say I enjoy this theme.
Yeah, like
Fair enough.
the crew doesn't have the best theme. All right, it adds on that story, and you read out a paragraph, and then you're just playing the cards. It did get exciting towards the end, but really, it's tacked on.
I will say that the reason why I think this theme fits is because of the idea of the paradox, which is the fact that you can have a card that can't be there.
Yeah.
I think that's what.
But then it
fits
could have
it
been
for
a
me.
sci-fi time travel thing.
Yeah,
I
that is
definitely
true.
put it above that low rung, of I feel this is tacked on. I think it's above that, but
Yep.
yeah, again, I just don't.
I
doesn't work for me.
I will say, like, I'm generally not one who cares too much about theme.
Yeah,
Like,
but-
if anyone knows me, knows like my collection has more beige in it than anything
Oh, to
else.
be fair though, what was that game that you bought just because it was Portuguese? It had like a Portuguese theme to
Oh,
it.
Fado.
Yeah, like you bought that purely
I
based off
bought
the
it-
theme.
I bought it purely because I'm pretty sure I was the only person there who could read it, and I was like, "I'm gonna buy this." I still don't know. What
Don't
that
tell
game
me it
is.
doesn't mean anything. To you.
But I will say I was super happy that Ralph confirmed that it is colorblind friendly.
Very.
It is super accessible. The components are fantastic. The card stock is lovely.
This is the deluxe version that we are currently playing with, though. So
The deluxe version is
It's
what
the tokens, right?
yeah, and it also has the extra tokens. The deluxe version, I know it makes it sound fancy, but this is what is currently in print and is currently making its way into stores. Some stores may already have it in stock. Getting the original non-deluxe version is probably going to cost you more. because I'm pretty sure you'd have to import it. So, look, it's a lovely game. I'll say again, I am a sucker for quality trick-taking games.
And how much does it go
Same.
for?
I got it for 30.
Yeah, 33 or so.
Nice
30
for that.
Yeah,
That's not too bad.
That was
That's
a
really
bargain
good.
though.
That's-
I think it's normally 50, 60 bucks.
Yeah, it's not a cheap game. However, Easter sales are coming up, so keep an eye out. Yeah, Cat in the Box.
Look, I will say, as our gateway game of the week, the reason we did pick it is because it is such an interesting take on the trick-taking genre, but it is simple enough that someone who has never played a trick-taking game like Blayke, even though you do know games, but you could pick it up in less than 5 minutes, and we will rate.
I have to be honest, like when I first heard a trick taking game, I was like, what's trick taking? And then I realized, oh yeah, I played Hearts as a teenager. Yeah, I know what trick taking is, and I didn't realize what that term was.
Most people are like that. If you've played 500, Euchre, Hearts, any of those variations, you kind of know. So
Blayke, have you ever played Euchre?
I've never
Maybe
played Euchre,
once or
mate.
twice.
All
in
right,
high school.
I will
Not-
teach you guys how to play Euchre.
I've played Euchre. I
Done.
do like it.
Sounds like something you do in the bathroom.
Now. That was just between you and I, Ralph.
Maybe I have played Yuka, yeah.
Moving swiftly on, we're going to move from that pun into, well, I guess what a great segue. This is our shelf of shame, and
Oh, man.
we're going to be talking about the shelf of
Hand
shame.
over the joke
which is-
mantle.
Yeah, I think so.
Look, I had to redeem myself after that horrible pun at the start of Cat in the Box. Anyway, look, we're going to be moving on to the shelf of shame discussion, which is in board gaming, the games that you have never played, that you own, sit upon that illustrious shelf, the shelf of shame. And tonight we thought we would air out our skeletons in the closet, our dirty laundry, as it were. I would like you each we're going to go through some of the games that we have on our shelf of shames. We are then going to say, why it's there. Do we expect to be playing it anytime soon? Do we plan on selling it? What do you think about this game in general? And just get it out into the universe, guys. Look, maybe by airing it tonight, we will have an opportunity to play these games in the near future. So let's get zen. Let's get into it, shall we?
I elect the right to say nothing during this entire segment without my solicitor present.
I like to take the Fifth Amendment.
and I will tell you to blow it out your ass because we are an audio podcast and the people need to hear this evidence. So I won't make you go through your entire list to start with, Damien. So we'll start with Ralph.
Sure thing. So, all right. So there's one game that I literally just got last week. So I don't know if it's really on the shelf of shame. Like it's barely got dust on it. The Bob Ross board game. I haven't played that.
Isn't that called an easel and just parchment or something like that?
No, I can't remember.
Does
what
he
it's
actually
called.
have a
It does
board
have
game? I did
an
not know
yeah.
he
He's
had
got
a
a
board-
legit board game. I purely bought it because of Bob Ross.
Right.
I assume it has something to do with painting. The front cover looks nice. So that's there. And to be honest, I've only got two other games that I've been holding on to for a while.
Okay.
The first one is Pandemic Legacy Season 0. Because my wife and I beat Season 1 with another couple that moved interstate. So I don't know if we can get to play Season 0, but I'd love to play Season 0 sometime. Maybe at some point after we beat Season 1. Who knows? And the other one is King's Dilemma. Only because I haven't had the right 5-player group to play it, to be honest. But it's a game I would love to actually play.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go next because out of my about 150 games, they're about small box, big. I've got 6 games, which are currently on my shelf of shame.
Pretty good.
The first one is Splendid Duel. I have owned it for about a month now. I've bought it with the intention to play it with my lovely wife. Have yet to play it with Georgie. Although we did play Caesar, which I did buy, and that one went down pretty well. So we're just a bit slower of getting to those things at the moment. I also got, for Christmas, I got Hand to Hand Wombat.
That looks fun.
I have not had. I literally have not had the opportunity to play it yet.
It looks like silly fun.
It does look like a silly fun. It's basically you're trying to build things, but you all have your eyes closed, and someone's trying to sabotage you from building the things. So you got to smack it out, and then you have to think who it is. So I was like, I feel bad that I haven't played it since Christmas. I've got Mint Delivery, which I bought on a whim because I'm like, oh, I like these, the idea of the Mint games, but I just have never played
Did
it.
the delivery man have a mint for you?
No, it doesn't,
damn.
unfortunately.
Yeah,
but
fair.
I also Hegemony just came in about a month ago, and that thing is just I am so ready to play that thing. The 4-player, I will only be playing it at 4 players, but I don't know. Same like you, Ralph. I don't know if that is on my shelf of. Yeah, it doesn't have much dust on it. However, there are 2 games which I do have a lot of dust on. And the first one is a game called Ride the Rails, which I bought off of a certain gentleman who's sitting directly in front of me.
Still haven't played it?
No, I have not played it because
Jeez.
I granted I got it for a good price, but I have not played it because every time that we've tried to play like a game, I just haven't like gone, I played something else and keep looking
You
at
can't
going.
sell it. You got to try and sell it. You know.
So it is a cube rail sort of game
Yeah.
system, which I want to get out and play.
Cool.
I've got Mini Express, which is also a cube rail system.
Didn't we
Okay.
play that?
We did play Mini Express, but we have not played
Oh,
Ride the
okay.
Rails. So that's
Yep.
why I think it's the step up from Mini Express.
Nice.
So I want to do that. And then my final one is a game that I got called Lucidity, which I want to play, which was a game that Georgie actually bought for me for my birthday a few years ago. But I have not played it because at the time it's called Six-Sided Nightmares. So it's a game about, it's a roll and write, but it was a theme that didn't really bounce with me. Now,
That sounds pretty cool to me.
it does sound pretty cool, but it's one of those games that I have not, because I was not big into the idea of the theme at the time. However, this year I've been very big on trying to play games that I may not necessarily like the theme of. Tigris and Euphrates, for example, was like a game which I was interested but didn't really like pique my interest until you said, let's play it. And I'm like, all right, let's play it. And then we played it and I'm like, crap, this is a really good game. So who knows, maybe I have a hidden sleeper sitting on my shelf that I've yet to
definitely.
play. And that's part of the reason why I want to go play these games. So
I've got one more to add to your list, actually, if you're finished.
yeah,
going
go
through.
for it.
Super Skill Pinball Arcade.
Yes, it's sitting there. Yes, you gave it to me 3 weeks ago.
More
and
than that, mate. What's
It was
going
4
on?
weeks. Yeah, it was about 4 weeks ago. It was about a month ago. I do have to play that game. It's not my game.
Oh, it's still on your shelf of shame,
it is
though.
on my shelf of shame.
Yeah,
So I'll do
yeah.
that.
I've got to
Anyway.
put a sticky note
Now
of
I-
shame on the
yeah.
shelf.
I hate to dogpile in here, Nee.
Oh
but,
no! Oh no!
Either you're lying and you've got another game that I'm thinking of here,
Which one?
or you've played it without me after unboxing it in front of me, which I think is quite rude.
Which one?
And that's Anno 1800.
No,
No,
it is.
he played that with me last week.
No, that is on my shelf of shame. But like,
Ah.
yeah, okay, that is still on my shelf of shame. But we're going to be playing it within the next week. So my mind's
no,
like,
it has it been
all right,
played?
fine. Look,
Yeah,
it's
poor
officially
form,
all
poor
right,
form.
Anno 18, and it's officially.
You know,
on
I'll
my-
also go to the gym this week.
I'm pretty sure the way time works, like now is before
Oh
later.
crap! There's
in the
another
week.
game. I'm doing a Damien. I've got Too Many Cooks, which is on that list too, which is a cooperative like
That's the Sand Timer one?
Yeah, it's not that one. It's a different variation,
okay.
but that is my 8 games. So on my list.
Not
which I have
bad,
to
not
do.
bad.
It's not too bad. All right,
Yeah, that's a good ratio.
Damien.
Yeah.
I reckon we'll get a Blayke because Damien's
All
really
right, Blayke. We're gonna come to you.
Decent
Damien, you
amount.
best you get your affairs in order.
I
'cause we're coming
think
to you next.
I think my list is sorted. Yeah.
All right, good.
All right.
Blayke.
Well, look, I don't think we can count games that I've got on Kickstarter as shelf of shame. They haven't reached my
no,
shelf
they
yet.
haven't
no.
arrived yet.
They
So,
don't
Look,
count.
my shelf is still quite.
They're on your bank account of shame.
Exactly.
exactly right. Not shelf of shame.
Look, my shelf is still quite small at this stage. But even so, I've still got a couple on there that I haven't played. One, I suppose, is Atmosphere, which although I've played the original, but I've bought the updated version. I haven't got
sweet.
that to table yet with anyone.
I'm keen.
And the other one, I just wanted, before I announce this next one, I just want to say, I just want to ask, is this table a safe space? Am I, this is a little bit of a confession here,
That's fine.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
which
Sure.
Ralph and Nee especially, I apologize, but your Christmas present for me, I haven't gotten to play Star Realms yet.
Oh, that's okay.
Oh, we're gonna have look. You know what you need to do next time you come to a podcast. You bring it and we'll play it and we'll teach you how to play it before.
That sounds great.
It's mostly because it's a two-player game.
is
It's
a
hard to,
two-player game, yeah.
get.
But I did loan you a solo game.
You did.
Uh-oh.
I guess that's technically on my shelf.
What game's that,
He's
mate?
calling us both out.
I am. I'm calling it both out, man. You didn't do your homework for the podcast.
Hadrian's Wall. Yeah, no, I guess that's technically on my shelf, and it is
Especially with-
currently in
See how
shame
shameful
status.
he is.
Especially when Ralph loaned me a game. I had it on the table and played within 2 hours.
You did. You
To be-
smashed
did.
that.
To be fair, when we were good. So Ralph lent us a couple of games that we were gonna do for a previous podcast episode, which was solo player games. And every time we've been to do it, we've pushed this topic back and back and back. And so I felt like, well, I don't need to play it yet. And so
Nah,
every time I'm like,
I'm telling you now. I think within a couple of weeks we'll have a solo game episode. I'll give you a couple more weeks.
All right, Damien, we're gonna come to you now. We're gonna the safe space from Blayke. We'll continue that space over to you. This is a confessional. You may feel free to air it out. Let's see. What have you got?
I'm going to add a few caveats to
here
my
we go.
shelf of shame. No, because basically, early on in the pandemic, I bought far too many games, but I bought them because I was playing them on BGA.
Yes.
With the intention of eventually playing these games either with a group or with my son. So we have been, to be fair, we have been getting through a lot of these games. A lot of the games did get moved on because they just weren't for us.
Yep.
But getting to the point, Medici, Reiner Knizia game. I saw Reiner Knizia on the box. I went, yeah, I'm going to buy it. Haven't played it.
Of course.
Fire in the Lake. It is a coin game, so a counterinsurgents game. It is my first, if you will, foray into proper war games.
Set in Vietnam, isn't it?
It is, yes.
Yeah.
So it's set around the Vietnam War.
Side note before you continue, last week in the last episode when you were talking about John's company, I thought John's company was Fire in the Lake until I'm sitting there going, oh, I'm completely wrong on this. So anyway, continue.
Very different games. Orleans, it is a classic bag builder. It actually predates sort of Quetzalcoatlin-Berg, but uses similar mechanics.
I've heard that's really good.
I do like Orleans.
Except you're putting your pieces out on a map. Mm-hmm. To be fair, I have played it solo, but I haven't played it multiplayer, so
That's
I'm
fine.
including that one in there.
Playing with yourself counts in board games.
That's fine.
fair.
That's all good.
Trois is one I really want to play. It is a very, very mean dice drafting game where you can steal other people's dice, so on and so forth.
Sounds good.
Mind management, social deduction game.
Yep.
I've never, other than Blood on the Clock Tower, which is more of a large group deduction game, I've never played a social deduction game. So like,
I thought Mind Management was more like
Co-op, wasn't it?
It's like that. What's that London one with Jack the Ripper?
yeah, it's more like
Castles or Whitechapel.
What?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Letters of Whitechapel.
It is,
Letters of
yeah.
Whitechapel.
Yeah, I thought it was like on steroids.
I've never played that. I've never played Dracula. I've never played anything like
I thought it
that.
was a bit of a co-op narrative driven.
It is a bit.
Yeah.
The production quality of that game is off the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Looks brilliant.
So yes, Decrypto. I've never played Decrypto.
Yeah, see, I've only played it once.
I saw that. I'm like, oh, we need to play
Yeah,
that.
I've only
played
played it the once, and I just want to play more of that
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
We want that. We're going to have to, yeah.
The Great Zimbabwe. I bought it on a whim last Christmas.
Yeah,
Splatter?
I remember.
No, that's another Splatter game.
No, Splatter again. That's right.
Transcontinental. That is one that I backed on Kickstarter.
We are going. I've told you. I
think
want to learn this
Every
game.
game you have here, just put
No, no.
standard response.
Yeah.
Nee wants to
No,
play.
specifically, the Transcontinental was one that I've said to Damien. He's like, I don't know if I've got anyone who wants to learn it. And I'm like, I've literally, since I've heard about it, I'm like, the idea of this game of like, you make your train longer to do actions. I'm like, I'm in. I just like, I know it'll be a bit of a pain, but we need to play at least once before you decide to sell it. We need to try it.
It's a strange worker placement auction game. The rulebook, unfortunately, is not good. I don't like speaking ill of other people's work at all. But
If it makes the
Do you want
game
me to do it for you?
it's not good.
if it makes the game harder to learn, though. It's
Yeah.
kind of-
Goa, a game I found on the marketplace.
Here's a Goa.
It is it's terrible. It's
Classic,
classic.
it's a Monty Python reference. It just sprang
I'm
into my
aware
head.
of what it
Okay.
is. Delivery was terrible.
Yeah, look. Yeah, fair
So
enough.
Goa is a
Pass it back to like Ralph. Yeah, I love how you're the arbiter of the award of cards. So Blayke is
he is the governing body
Yeah.
of the bad
Yeah.
dad jokes.
I'm okay with that. So Goa, it's yet another auction game, but you're auctioning for resources. Really, really interesting game. 51st State, to be fair, I only literally just got it. I've learnt it. I've had it set up.
Oh, I
Wow,
thought you
this-
said 51st Date, and I'm like, isn't that a movie?
No, this list has expanded from the initial first
has.
draft you told us.
Yes.
So yeah, it's still going.
Pandemic Legacy Season 1 and Fadul, which I just mentioned because it was 11, and then Ralph mentioned the game, so I haven't played that one either.
I think he did well.
I'm fairly certain that is the list.
Look, in terms of percentage wise, I think though we're all doing pretty dang good here. Like I think I do know a lot of people. I don't know a lot of people, but I've seen a lot of people online who are very big collectors, but not big players of their games. And they're like, I wish I had friends to play a lot of games, and we are very lucky that. Looking at these lists that we have around here, it's like, realistically, I'm looking at maybe less than 10% of the games that I own I have not played yet.
Yeah.
But you know, look, Ralph, your list is also very small. Like, you know,
It is, because I tend to move games on fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Like I keep a game for a year or two, and then I'm like, if it's not hitting the table, I'll just let it move on.
So, yeah.
And I'm okay with that. Mind you, I do regret selling some games, like the base game of Nemesis. I'm like, damn, I wish I could keep that. But I have a couple of friends that have that, and I'm sure they'll let me borrow it if the occasion comes up to play it.
I'm sure I've also got this weird thing that is on moving on from games because my kids are about to enter that kind of age where I want to start playing games. I'm like, part of me is like, yeah, I could sell this game right now, and then I'm like,
there's some games I'll keep to play in the future down the line as well. Like, I've kept games just for that.
I think that'll be the same. So
look,
how do we all feel about that? Are we feeling
a little bit? Like that's off my chest.
I feel a bit exposed, to be honest.
Now, what I want to know though is of the games that we currently have on our shelf of shame, are there any games that we think we are likely to sell unplayed?
I could sell that Bob Ross game. I purely bought it on a whim.
You know why?
I'd buy it.
It looks sick. I have to show you. I should have showed you on the weekend.
Bob Ross is just Mr. Squiggle without the upside down and upside down.
I don't think it's like a Pictomania or anything. I think it's like a slow strategy thing.
Yeah.
Look, no, I don't. I think I'll.
You might fall in love with it actually.
I love Bob Ross and I love slow.
Yeah, you love the slow, methodical tableau building
I'm all in.
thing. Yeah, that sounds great.
I don't think I'd.
$200 for the Kickstarter.
All I know is, do they have happy little trees inside of it?
They do. They do have happy little accidents as well.
And you got to beat the devil out of it.
That's right. You got to quote Bob Ross as much as you can.
Right.
Yeah.
Look, I don't think I'd sell any of my games without playing them first. I think the only one, if it was going to happen, would maybe be Ride the Rails, but only because I've got another Cube Rail game in my collection.
Yeah.
But I do think I'm very much like you. It's like, I think I want to at least play one once before I go whether or not, because if I sell a game without playing it and it happens to be a game that I absolutely adore, then I'll feel like an absolute idiot doing that. So I think, that's what I do.
That's what I did with Nemesis.
All right. Well, look, we're coming to the end here, so we are going to wrap this one up for episode number 29. I'd like to thank all three of you for joining me once again, for joining me around the table. We would like to give a quick shout out to everyone who's listening. Of course, all the group from MacArthur Board Gamers. You know, the meetup is, there's another meetup next month, but the Blood on the Clock Tower will be tomorrow.
Friday.
Will be tomorrow as of this podcast coming out on Thursday. And go there, look on the Eventbrite. Look, if you want to go to our website, go to www.boardgamegateway.com. There you'll find all the latest articles, podcasts, and videos that we'll be doing. Go to our YouTube channel and type @BG Gateway into the YouTube search bar. You'll be able to find us. We're actually doing a lot more YouTube shorts now, which is going to be a lot of fun. And we're also looking at doing some more video content in the future. So go there and have a look. But if you did enjoy this podcast, please give us a rate. Please go and leave us a comment on our Facebook page. We would love for you to come and join our community. Until next time, I'd like to say thank you very much for joining.
Thank you, Damien, for joining us again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's pretty good behind the mic.
Yeah, it's like he's always been here, right?
Pretty much. He has always been here. Again, I'm homeless at the moment. I'm not listening.
Anyway, we'll see you guys.
Back to bed.
All right, we'll see you guys in the next podcast. See ya.
Bye everyone.
That's good.
All right.
Let's stretch it.